have. But this one company, 8,000 stores, billions of dollars, delivers in 30 minutes. Now that may be a competitive advantage for you. That's very important to customers, and customers will pay more and they'll buy more from you as a result. So number 3 is constraints. Constraints identify what is holding you back. This is another key thinking tool, one of the most important in the world in business. What we say is that between where you are and where you want to be, there is always a constraint that determines how fast you achieve that goal. For example, let us say you wanted to take a trip from Dar es Salaam to, give me the name of the new capital. What's the new capital? Sobindo? Say again. Odoba? Odoba. Odoba, okay, Odoba, that's right. All right. So let us say you say that after this seminar you're going to drive from Dar es Salaam to Odoba. All right, how far is that? 500 kilometers?
Yeah, maybe 6.
And so how long is it going to take you to drive there?
5 hours.
5 hours? Okay. Now, then I tell you, oh, did you know that there is major construction on the road and all the traffic is narrowed and going through one lane? So it's backed up on both sides. Then I ask you, now how long will it take you to drive to Odoba? And there's only one answer, and the answer is it depends. It depends on how long it takes you to get through the construction area. If you leave in the middle of the day and you arrive at the construction area, there will be hundreds of cars. It will take maybe hours. But what if you travel at night and you arrive there at midnight? Well, you can get through quite fast because there will be very few cars. So everything depends on how fast you get through the construction area. In business, you have a goal. And let's say your goal is to achieve double your sales, double your profitability, double your personal income, whatever it is. So here's you, and here is Odoba, all right? And between you and Odoba, there is a constraint. We call this a choke point or a bottleneck that determines how fast you get from where you are to your goal. So the question is, what sets the speed at which you achieve your goals? What sets the speed? Now, in business, there's always one major factor that's holding you back. It could be your reputation for quality. With Apple, they found that what was holding them back when Steve Jobs took over, they had 104 products that they were offering all over the world. And they were breaking even and losing money. When Steve Jobs took over, the company was 3 months away from bankruptcy. And the board of directors just gave him the company, said, see if you can save it, because he was the biggest stockholder. And so he went in and he did a zero-based thinking analysis of Apple. This is what saved Apple. He said, how much do we earn from these 104 products? It turned out that 80% of their profits were coming from 4 products. Only 20% was coming from the other 100. But the other 100 were costing countless millions of dollars to produce and deliver. So he announced at the first meeting of the executives, we're going to eliminate 100 products and focus on the 4 that give us all the profits. And of course, they all went crazy because many of them are going to lose their job or lose their position or lose their power. But he was absolutely clear, like an axe, chunk. He cut off 100. Within 12 months, they had discontinued 100 products. Now they started to make profits. Then he said, that's the first constraint that was holding us back from succeeding. The second constraint was we need a top product. Our products have become commodities. We cannot sell enough of them to make profits. So they came up with the idea of the iPod, 1,000 songs in your pocket, the musical device that changed the world, bankrupted all the record companies, bankrupted all the CD retail outlets, put them all out of business because of the iPod, and then the iPhone, and then the iPad. The point was that he recognized the constraint was we have too many products selling at too many prices and earning too little profit. So what is your constraint? If you want to double your income, what is holding you back from doubling your income? Often, for example, I will talk to salespeople. They say, I want to double my income. I say, if you want to double your income, it's quite simple. It's double the number of customers that you talk to each day. How will that do it? Well, if you're selling everything you're selling today with the number of customers that you're talking to on average today, If you talk to twice as many customers, then you'll sell twice as much. And they go out, and within a month, they're earning twice as much. They organize their day to increase the number of times they call on customers, to increase customer contacts. Keep asking, what's holding you back? What's the one factor? Sometimes it's one incompetent person in a key job. Sometimes the fact is you have a product that is obsolete, that doesn't sell anymore. Sometimes the factor is you need a whole new product line like Apple. So what is the limiting factor on results? Now, there's always a limiting factor that determines how high you achieve results. It determines how much you accomplish. What is holding you back? Now, this brings us to, we say C, apply the 80-20 rule to your situation. And this is my discovery, and it is this. 80% of the reasons, we call internal, 80% of the reasons you are not achieving your goals are inside yourself. Do you want to double your income? 80% of the reasons why your income is not twice as high are inside yourself. It's lack of a skill, lack of a quality, poor time management, bad self-discipline, lack of a skill. Sometimes you're only one skill away from doubling your income. In your business, it's the same thing. 80% of your problems are inside the business. There are decisions that you need to make. There are things you need to start doing and things you need to stop doing. The decisions are the people inside yourself. It's being in love with the comfort zone that's holding your company back. It's a key person in a job of responsibility. So keep looking. 80% of the things that are holding you back are inside yourself or inside your business. Now, what is it that top executives do? They accept this and they go to work on their own business. What do average people do? They blame all their problems on someone else. They blame it on the government, and they blame it on the taxes, and they blame it on things in the environment which are like the weather. You cannot do anything to change the weather. You can only adapt to the weather. And adaptability is the key to success in a competitive society. 20% are external. 20% may be contained in the market, in the competition, in interest rates, and so on. But always the starting point to look for what's holding you back is in yourself. So everyone here wants to double their income. So here's my question. Why isn't your income already twice as high? You've been working for years and years. There are people around you who are earning twice as much as you. Why isn't your income already twice as high? Well, one of the reasons could be that you're not getting enough results. And so therefore people can't pay you twice as much. I had a man come up to me at the end of this part of my seminar, and he said to me, he said, you know, this is an interesting seminar, however, but it's not correct. You're not telling the truth. And I said, what do you mean? He said, there's no way that my company would pay me twice as much. It's just not part of my company structure. And I said, really? I said, well, let me ask you a question. Is there anyone in your company who earns twice as much as you? He said, well, yes, my boss probably earns twice as much. Is there anybody who earns 3 times as much as you, or 4 times, or 5 times? He said, well, yeah, the top people earn that. I say, oh, so your company is quite willing to pay someone twice as much. They're just not willing to pay you twice as much. Now, why do you think that is? And he said, I guess I'm not productive enough. Yes, my son, go with God. Bless you. I'm not productive enough. In other words, it's in you. It's not your company. Your company is quite willing to pay people 2 or 3 or 5 times, or 10 times as much as you. They're just not willing to pay you twice as much, and that's your responsibility. We say that if you want an increase in pay, go to the nearest mirror and negotiate with your boss. Because the person in the mirror is the person who determines how much you earn. If you're not happy with your income, become more valuable, get more results. Now, number 4 is creativity. Now, creativity, innovation, finding newer, faster, better, cheaper ways to do things is absolutely essential to be a top leader. You've always got to be looking for ways to improve things. Because if you don't, your competitors will. And if your competitors do, they'll put you out of business. Remember, your competitors wake up every morning and they think about putting you out of business. They think about what they can do to take away your business, to take away your sales, to take away your profits. In fact, your competitors would like you to go bankrupt. They would be very happy if you went bankrupt. And they think all day long, how can we make you bankrupt? A little bit at a time. I'm going to visit the Serengeti tomorrow. It's been one of my dreams for life. And there's a story that they tell in the Serengeti, which you've probably heard. It's a story about the lion and the gazelle. And they say every morning on the plains of the Serengeti, a lion wakes up. And he knows that he's going to have to run faster than the slowest gazelle if he wants to eat that day. And every morning on the plains of the Serengeti, a gazelle wakes up. And the gazelle knows that he's going to have to run faster than the slowest lion if he wants to live or survive that day. And the moral of the story is that whether you're a lion or a gazelle, when the sun comes up, you had better be running. Because your competitors are running. They're getting up earlier, they're starting earlier, they're working harder, and they're staying later, and all they can think about is putting you out of business. And you have to think the same way, only better, and that's all done by creativity and innovation. So the key to creativity is solving the problems that stand, D, fill in this word D, focus on removing your main constraint. Focus on removing your main constraint, the main factor that's holding you back from achieving your business or personal goals. Work just on that like a laser beam until you've accomplished it. Which brings us to number 4, creativity. Now, A, creativity means solving the problem or achieving the goal. A goal that is not achieved is a problem that has not yet been solved. So everything in creativity comes down to problem solving. Do you want to double your sales and profitability? It's a problem that you need to solve. It's a goal. So we say that leadership is the ability to solve problems. Success is the ability to solve problems. Your ability to identify the problems and to solve them determines how fast you rise and how many results you get. And all day long, all you have is problems. So we say, A, define the problem or goal clearly. What exactly is the problem? What is it that's holding you back from achieving your major goals? What is the problem you're dealing with today? And I wrote an entire book on this, by the way, and this whole book is called Crunch Point. And basically it says that all of life is a series of problems, and some of them are big problems that can threaten the success or survival of your business. Your job is to solve those problems quickly and competently. So say, what is the problem exactly, and write it down. Think on paper. Think on paper. It is amazing. A problem that is clearly defined on paper, in 50% of cases, it solves itself. If you sit down with 5 or 6 people in a company and you're wrestling with a problem and you ask them, what is the problem exactly? Each of the 5 will have a different answer, which is why they can't solve it. So then you agree on a common definition. Now here's the second part. You ask, what else is the problem? And the rule is to beware of a problem for which there's only one definition. The more ways that you can define the problem, the easier it is to come up with a correct solution. Now B says identify all possible solutions. Now we are clear about the problem, what are all the possible solutions to this problem? And write them down, write them down, write them down, and then ask what else is the solution? And what else is the solution? And beware of a problem for which there's only one solution. Sometimes the solution is not to do something, it's to do nothing. It's simply to wait. And many people have solved the biggest problems in their business by simply doing nothing for a while and waiting until they had more information. And then when they had more information, they were able to solve the problem quickly. Sometimes the answer is to gather information. Sometimes the solution is to stop doing something completely or start doing something brand new. One of the solutions is to practice zero-based thinking. If we were not now doing this, would we start it again? So the answer is not to solve the problem, it's to stop doing it altogether. And then ask, what else is the solution? C, and this is one of the most important thinking skills you'll ever learn, this thinking skill has made more people rich than any other thinking skill in history. It made me rich. It took me from being broke to millionaire in less than 5 years. I had struggled to earn money for 35 years. I was 35 years old when I discovered this method. Within 5 years, I was a millionaire, And within 5 more years, I was a multimillionaire. And I've taught this method all over the world. And people come back and they say, you made me a millionaire. You made me a millionaire. You made me a millionaire. Whether it's in Lagos or Ghana or in Cambodia or Vietnam or Mexico or some country in Europe, you made me a millionaire. In Russia, you made me a millionaire. Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, you made me a millionaire with this method. Does it work? Yes. Does it cost anything? No. Yes, it does. It does cost something. It costs self-discipline. Oh, that word again. That self-discipline word. Oh, we don't like that word here, do we? A lot of people don't like it. So here we say, C, is practice mindstorming on your key problem. Now this is how you use mindstorming. All it takes is a piece of paper. I even have a piece of paper as an example. Is what you do is you take a piece of paper like this, and at the top of the page you write your goal or problem in the form of a question. And let's say your goal is to double your income. And let's say your goal is to double your income within 12 months. So at the top of the page, you would write the question, how can I double my income within 12 months? Even better, how can I double my income by June 13th, 2015? Even better, take your current income today and double it. How can I earn this amount of money between now and June 13th, 2014? You see, the greater clarity that you define your problem with, the faster you attract answers to your mind. What people say is, how can I earn more money? Or how can I get more money? No, your subconscious mind can't work on a question like that. Your subconscious mind needs to know when you want to earn the money and how much. So tell your subconscious mind, like giving your subconscious mind operating instructions. So then your subconscious mind will work on the goal 24 hours a day. Just keep working. Then part 2 is you write 20 answers to that question. And you write easy answers, hard answers. The first few answers will be easy. The second few answers will be hard. But you just keep writing until you have 20 answers. What should you do more of? What should you do less of? What should you start doing? What should you stop doing? What would you stop doing that based on a quick analysis you wouldn't get into? Just keep asking questions. And the last few answers will be very difficult. But you must discipline yourself to keep writing until you have 20 answers. Now, the first time you do this, it will be hard. The second time you do this on a new goal or problem, it'll be a little easier. Eventually, you get to the point where every time you have a goal, you can pull out a piece of paper, write it down at the top of the page as a question, and crank out 20 answers. Sometimes 30 answers, sometimes 40 answers. When I work with corporations, I worked with a corporation once, I still remember, and their goal was to double their sales from $10 million to $20 million within the next 5 years. It had taken them 20 years to get to $10 million in sales. They wanted to get to 20 million in 5 years. I said, let's set a big goal, what we call a stretch goal. So we set this as a goal, and then we went around the table, and I said, okay, just imagine no limitations. Imagine that this is possible. Just play with it. And many of them didn't think it was possible because they worked very hard to get to 10 million, and now we're talking about getting to 20 million. So we went around the table and said, how could we get to 20 million? And they said, well, we could do this. All right, write that down. Well, we could stop doing this. That'll save money. We could start doing this. That'll generate more revenue. We went around the table. We had about 12 executives. We came up with 17 answers. And so then we divided the answers. What do you do first? What do you do second? What's more important? What's less important? What is an input? What is an output? And we agreed on a plan. And then each person agreed. They took responsibility for one part of the plan. And then they went back to work. 5 years later, they invited me to come to a special banquet to celebrate. They passed $50 million in sales within 5 years. Not 20 million, but 50 million. They grew 500%. They couldn't believe it. And they said it was not difficult at all. It's just everything started to flow. I began to get ideas and attract people. And it was the most amazing thing that once they were clear about the goal and they'd written down these answers, because when you write down an answer, you actually write it into your subconscious. It's like writing it into permanent programming, and then your subconscious works on it 24 hours a day. All your subconscious asks is tell me what you want, and I'll find a way to get it. Don't worry if you don't know how you're going to get it. Just be clear so I can work on it 24 hours a day. And every time I've ever had a goal, and I still do this almost every week, is I write down 20 answers. And it's absolutely amazing what happens. Now, the third part of this is once you've developed 20 answers, is to select one answer and take action immediately. It's sort of like a pump. You know, you're pumping water. If you stop pumping the water, it'll all drop down to the bottom. So you just keep pumping. And once you have taken one answer and applied it, then the water keeps flowing. And all day long, you'll be coming up with ideas. If you do this first thing in the morning, all day long, you'll be creative. You'll be seeing ideas and possibilities. It's the most amazing thing. And you'll start to think faster. You know, we said the ability to think is the most important skill. When you do this exercise, it's like working out your brain. You become smarter. You increase your IQ points by as much as 25 points. You become smarter and more creative. You think faster, and you get better results by doing this exercise. So it's really powerful. And all I ask you to do with any suggestion is pick and do this once. Just pick this idea and do it once. Take a piece of paper after the seminar, take your most important goal, write it down as a question, and generate 20 answers. If you have a business goal, sit down with other people and generate 20 answers. And then take action on at least one thing immediately. And every day, take action on one of your ideas. And the river of creativity will continue to flow. Number 5 principle is concentration. Concentration. Focus your talents and resources where exceptional results are possible. At a dinner party last year, Bill Gates, the richest man in the world, and Warren Buffett, who's his close friend, third richest man in the world, and the son of the father of Bill Gates Sr., were talking amongst themselves, and another man came up to them, and someone was observing this, that's why it was written in the newspapers, and asked them, you know, you gentlemen are very successful. Tell me, what do you think is the most important quality for success? And all three stopped talking and turned, and at the same time said the word focus. Focus is the most important word for success. If you can focus, you can achieve almost anything. If you can't focus, you can achieve nothing. So I like that answer because 10 years ago, no, actually even longer, I began teaching a program called Focal Point Coaching and Mentoring, and it taught people to focus in business. And as I told you before, I guaranteed them that they would double their income and double their time off within 12 months by learning how to focus. And every one of them achieved the goal. Some of them tripled their income within 30 days. The same work that they've been doing for 10 or 15 years, they tripled their income within 30 days by learning how to focus. So the 3 words for success are clarity, know exactly what you want, focus on the one thing that will help you the most, and concentrate single-mindedly until you achieve the goal. Wonderful thing about concentration is that concentration is like working your mental muscles. It makes you smarter. Also, it makes you more positive and gives you more energy. So concentration, concentration. People who cannot focus and concentrate cannot accomplish anything. And this is a skill that you can learn. So define your greatest opportunities. What is your greatest opportunity in your business today? It's amazing how many people I talk to say, I just don't have time to pursue all these ideas. And what happens is their sales stay flat. But the successes of tomorrow will be the ideas of today. Number B is determine your most valuable resources. What are the most valuable resources? Your people, money, your business, your reputation, your productive ability, your top salespeople. What do you have that you can use to take advantage of your biggest opportunities? And then C, decide upon your best talents and skills. What are the best talents and skills you have personally? What are the best talents and skills you have of the people who report to you? These are the tools that you use to achieve your goals. Now, number 6 is continuous learning. And everybody has a turning point in their life, as Azim was talking about. My turning point was when I discovered 2 things. Number 1 was that you can learn anything you need to learn to achieve any business goal. I had no idea that that was the key to success. The only thing that holds us back is skills, and all skills are learnable. The second part of that was continuous learning. When I discovered personal development, continuous learning, reading and learning and growing every day, it changed my life. I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. And I speak to people everywhere I go, and they come up to me and they say, the turning point in my life was when I discovered personal development. I discovered reading and listening to audio programs and going to seminars. And personal development is wonderful because the cost is very low and the payoff, they reckon, is 10, 20, or 50 times the amount you invest in personal and professional development you get back in income within 12 months. It's absolutely unbelievable. You get ideas that transform your life when you read books and attend seminars and listen to audio programs. So here's the 3 keys to continuous learning. We say upgrade your knowledge and skills on a continuous basis. Read 30 to 60 minutes per day in your field. I would advise you, if you're starting your career, to study 2 hours a day. Just make it a habit. Just come home, have dinner with your family, and from 8 to 10, study and learn a new skill. You can learn any skill that you want, but read 30 to 60 minutes a day. 30 to 60 minutes a day will translate into 1 book per week. 1 book per week will translate into 50 books per year. 50 books per year will get you the equivalent of a PhD at a top university. What you have to do to get a PhD is you have to read 30 to 50 books and write a dissertation. When you take and read 30 to 50 books on your business, you get a PhD in your field each year. I promise you this, that if all you did was read an hour a day in how to be better in your work, your income will double and triple in the next 12 months. And I've never had anybody contradict that. They were absolutely astonished at how much more valuable they became when they began reading and learning every day. B is attend seminars and conferences like this 4 times a year. As Azim said, it's not the cost of the conference, it's the cost of not attending. It's the cost of not having this information. Even worse, it's the cost of your competitors attending those conferences and learning the things that you don't know. And you don't even know why they are eating your lunch. You don't even know why they are outperforming you, because the very best companies spend the most time training their people. In fact, they found this over the years. The average company spends between 3 and 10% of their gross revenues in training. And some companies spend even more. And they train and train and train. And these companies have the fastest growth rate of any companies in their industry because they're always training their people to become better at increasing sales and profitability. Number C is listen to audio programs in your car. Audio learning is considered the greatest breakthrough in education since the invention of the printing press. With audio learning, you turn driving time into learning time. With audio learning, you can learn an extra 500 to 1,000 hours per year. If you are still using the excuse that you get caught in traffic, when you get caught in traffic, you can listen to audio programs that will give you ideas and skills that will improve your ability to succeed. I was listening to an audio program by a successful multimillionaire entrepreneur about 4 years ago, and he said something that I had heard many times, but I hadn't heard it the way he said it, and I took that one idea and I generated almost $1 million in new revenue in the following 12 months with one idea. Unbelievable. I could not, it was so simple that I hadn't thought of it before, but he presented it in an interesting way that I hadn't heard before. And that one idea was worth an extra $1 million. Now, if I had not heard that idea, if I had not been listening to audio programs, I would be way behind because of the change in the economy and so on. It's amazing how one idea can help you. But if the idea exists and you don't hear it and you don't know about it, it's the same as if it did not exist. So keep looking for new ideas that can help you. And number 7, quality, is courage. Be willing to take action with no guarantees of success. Be willing to take risks. We say courage is the mark of the leader. Courage is the mark of the leader. Leaders are willing to take risks and to risk time and money and reputation to achieve new goals. B, there is no security in life, only opportunity. General Douglas MacArthur, if you seek security, you'll never be secure, but if you seek opportunity, you will achieve security. And finally, we say C, resolve to act as if it were impossible to fail. It's interesting, when they interviewed the presidents of these 500 fastest growing companies, it's entrepreneurial companies, they found that they all had one quality in common, and the quality was optimism. These people were intensely optimistic. They had overcome their doubts and fears and worries with action, continuous action. You see, if you get so busy solving your problem or achieving your goal that you don't have time to worry. The answer to doubt and fear is knowledge and skill. The key to success is confidence, and you get confidence by taking action in the direction of your goals. And so the key is to act as if it were impossible to fail. Imagine that you've been given a guarantee that if you take enough actions, you will inevitably succeed. If you had a guarantee like that, what would you do? Here's a question. We know that in order to succeed greatly, you must fail many times. In fact, the biggest successes in life are the biggest failures. The people who succeed the most are the ones who fail the most. Thomas Edison was once asked why he had made 5,000 experiments to develop a new electric light bulb, and he had failed in them all. Why was he wasting so much time and energy? And he said, young man, you don't understand. He said, I have not failed at all. I have succeeded 5,000 times in identifying ways that do not work. That puts me 5,000 ways closer to the way that will work. It was experiment 11,341 that led to the electric light bulb, which changed our lives. But he kept on experimenting.